2 light pieces of metal, heavy with the memory of a life Race Hamdan was forced to leave behind.
In Syria, every person's dream is to create a home. All our life, we worked to build a house. 3 days after our wedding, the bombing started. The house was brand new, and I stayed for only 2 days. On the 3rd, we had to leave.
Ever since that day, back in 2013 in Damascus, he's carried his house keys in his pocket.
I went back to get some papers and documents and found the house like this, destroyed.
Entire Syrian communities have been reduced to rubble and twisted metal.
Since we left our house, we keep looking at these keys and remember our home. And every moment I feel my soul isn't with me. It's in our home.
According to the United Nations, 12 million Syrians have been displaced since the war started. About 5.5 million of those live abroad, most just across the border in Turkey, like Gihan Hamke and her 7 children. Gihan was pregnant with her youngest when her husband was murdered in Aleppo. When the family ran for their lives, all she took were mementos of him.
I took my husband's clothes. When Daesh captured us, they threw the bag away. They didn't allow me to take it back.
Empty-handed, Gihan crossed the border into Turkey on foot. She lives within sight of her homeland, while others have put an entire ocean between them and the war. The United Nations says that since 2014, more than 1.7 million refugees have crossed the Mediterranean by boat, the majority reaching islands belonging to either Italy or Greece. Boatloads of refugees began arriving in Lesvos 3 years ago. At the peak of the influx of migrants in September 2015, 9,500 people came ashore here in just 1 day. But the lure of a new life in Europe is fraught with risk. In the last 4 years, the UN says 16,000 people have died making the Mediterranean journey. Mohammed Al-Alou and his family say they feel blessed. They made it to Karatepe camp in Lesvos alive. But they haven't heard from Mohammed's father in more than 4 years. They fled Syria after he was arrested. All they have are his prayer mat and Quran.
I covered it with plastic bags, and my mother carried it all the way to Greece. Not in her hands, it was strapped to her body.
Everyone we ask says they don't know if they'll ever be able to return to Syria, but they do know that as long as they have a piece of home with them, they have hope.